What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a couple weeks that I haven't filmed, but I posted this topic on my Instagram a couple weeks ago, and it basically just has to do with like transitioning from being a collegiate athlete to like a normal everyday person. And a lot of people on here probably don't know this about me, so I'll kind of give a little bit of a backstory and kind of talk about my experience with this. But I played Division I soccer for the University of Houston for all 4 years of my undergrad. It was definitely an unplanned part of my life. Like, I didn't even think about college. I didn't think I was good enough to play soccer in college. I just was not like the top star of an athlete. I just work really, really hard. And I still carry that mentality with me as an adult. Like, I don't think I'm perfect or great or number one at anything, but I work hard to at least compete. So all that being said, I committed to U of H when I was a junior. I think I verbally committed to them, and then I signed with them my senior year of high school, played with them all 4 years. And I also want to preface this video with saying that my opinions and my thoughts and my expectations that I had going into college being a collegiate athlete are just my own thoughts, opinions, and expectations. I'm not saying all schools are like this. I'm not saying all teams are like this or that all the athletes had the same experience that I had or anything like that. I know plenty of athletes who had an amazing experience being a collegiate athlete, did wonderful, and I know some who had a way worse time off than I did, and I feel like everybody is different, but I really wanted to talk about my experiences and what I went through, and I really just hope that this kind of helps others who are like me transitioning out of athletics to not feel like alone about it. And I also hope that it reaches people who are currently in athletics or in college training or doing something and they're about to reach the point to where that's no longer going to be what they do. And I hope that this encourages you, but we're going to get started. So like I said, I played college soccer for 4 years. Overall, I don't think I've ever done anything else that has been more challenging physically, mentally, emotionally. I've never done anything that has truly challenged me to my absolute limits than when I was a collegiate athlete. Whether it was the fitness testing, or if it was just punishment via running, or if it was earning playing time, earning a starting lineup position, like everything as an athlete, I feel like molded me and taught me a lot of things getting into this chapter of my life that I'm in now. And I will say my experience was, I don't think it was very typical. I committed under one coach verbally in my junior year, like I said, and then that coach, for personal reasons, was no longer the head coach of the team right before I was about to start my two-a-days. So I had a whole new coaching staff come in to take over the team, and it wasn't a coach that recruited me. So that alone was already nerve-wracking because this staff has no idea how I play. They don't know anything about me. They're being thrown into this new situation and on top of my class being thrown in to working with a coach that didn't recruit them or knows anything about them. So that was very nerve-wracking. And as a freshman too, going into college into a whole new level of play with a bunch of like grown freaking women, like that too was also very nerve-wracking. My freshman year was an okay year for me. Like I said, I wasn't a star athlete, you guys. Like, I worked really hard. If you like Googled my name with University of Houston soccer, like I don't even know what you would find on there. Like, I'm sure my profile is probably on there as like standard, but I was no like top tier athlete, okay? So basically I just thought if I can be the most in shape player and if I can just outrun people, if I can out physical people, like I will make a spot and I will make time to play. And when I am on the field, like I'm gonna have an impact. Like that was my only expectation being a student athlete. And then I wanna say my sophomore year, there was a lot of changes going on with the classes, my recruitment group in general. I want to say this was sophomore year, but basically our coach had meetings with all of us, and a lot of my recruiting class was just given the option to leave the team or they were never going to see time on the field and weren't getting a scholarship renewed. And within my recruitment class, I was the only one who stuck it out and stayed to play because I don't like being told that I can't do things or that I can't accomplish things. And so when my coach told me like I would never see time on the field, I would never play again, but I can just ride along if I want, just in case. I was like, all right, well, I guess that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ride along with this and, I'm going to prove you wrong and I'm going to get time on the field. And my junior year, I want to say was probably my best year. And then my senior year was really tough. This is where I feel like I didn't have the best of like support and counseling or resources or guidance going into my senior year. So I played soccer from 10 years old all the way through college, okay? And so that's a lot of time, hours, sacrifice, commitment, dedication. Like that's a lot of years of your life to dedicate to one thing, right? I mean, by that time, that was more than half my life pretty much that I dedicated to this sport. And I think for a lot of athletes, when you start young and you stick with the same thing the whole way through, you don't really think about being or becoming anything else. Like you focus on how to be the best that year, that season, and how to continue that, career that you have, because you dedicated so much time and effort. You built this identity within what you've been committing your life to, that I think you never really think about what you're going to be or who you are outside of that particular sport or activity that you committed to for so long. And so my senior year came, it played out. I was a fall sport, so I finished my senior season, and then I still had a whole half a year of college to go before I graduated. And within that half of the year that I had left, so spring semester, I guess, basically once you were a senior and you played your last game and like the season was done, you didn't have to come to spring practice anymore. You didn't have to come to two-a-days. You didn't have to come to like anything related to your sport in the spring, because you were technically done, and there was no reason for you to really like have to stick around, especially because I feel like the coaching staff like really wanted to shift focus to the new girls, the new setup, the new lineup, whatever it is, like prepping the current players for the next season. It always just felt like super awkward going into the locker room, running into the girls who are still like getting ready for practice, hurrying up to get to the field on time, and I'm just like sitting there like I have nothing to rush to do. I have no practice. I have nothing. I'm just literally in here to waste time between classes. And it felt very like lonely in a sense, especially because my team in particular, I felt like I was not a very close-knit group with my team. I don't even think I really speak to anybody from my team now. And granted, it's been years and everybody has their own lives, but I didn't have that like sisterly, family-like development with my team. And I know some of my friends who played college soccer, they did, and they love their old teammates and they're all friends. So like, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, it does. But for me and my team and the dynamic, like I feel like there are very few girls who created that like lifetime friendship experience, and I just wasn't one of them. And that's not to put any blame on the girls or the team or anything like that. Like I'm not very social as is, and I feel like the environment of that team pinned a lot of us against each other in terms of competing for time, competing for starting lineup positions. Like I think it just kind of put like a hostile type of environment between us during seasons. So it was just really hard to develop a close friendship when you're literally trying to beat somebody out of that position every day. Yeah, so by the time I got to my spring season, I was about to graduate, and I was very excited. I was like, wow, like I got a degree, this is really cool. I just felt like, once the year was coming to an end though, I had no clue what I wanted to do with my degree. I had no idea what my life was going to look like without having some sort of thing to prepare for, because every summer before then I was running and training every day for the season to come. I was working, of course, like just to make money and everything, but it was like retail, like I was folding clothes. So I didn't even do anything that was really preparing me for an adult like job or position that I wanted to do. And then on top of all that, like I had no idea what an average person did to be active or to eat right or to be healthy mentally and physically. Like I didn't know anything. I just knew what it took to be an okay soccer player and to prepare for that. So by the time I graduated, I got out of U of H, and I just remember like being home. I lived with my parents still, and I just remember being home and just like feeling very lost and confused, and why did I dedicate so much of my time in my life to something that it left me with nothing in the end, is where I was at. And I think that's where a lot of ex-athletes or past athletes get to. I know when I posted the topic on my Instagram, a few of y'all talked about how like you lost your sense of identity, you lost a sense of purpose in life and what to do. Some people got into eating disorders, some people got into an unhealthy relationship with training and eating, and like they just really felt like their world was kind of flipped upside down after everything just changed on them, and there was no preparation for what that change was going to look like or how to like tackle it when you get there. And that's where I feel like, you know, I feel like I was kind of failed in that aspect when it comes to being an athlete. I know we had counselors, like we had guidance counselors and we had academic counseling, we had tutors and stuff, but like none of that was really like mandated on you. It was just like it was up to you to sign up. And as I say that, you know, maybe as an adult in college, I should have just signed up for what I needed help with. But I also feel like being an athlete and like never knowing that you needed that guidance in the first place, it should almost be like a mandatory checkup on juniors or seniors who are athletes who are transitioning out of something that has been their identity for so long. Like I feel like that should just kind of be on the minds of the counselors in general, because I feel like I didn't have that help or guidance when I was in school. I just kind of felt like it was your season's done, your time is up, we're done. Good luck. It was nice to have you around. Good luck with your life. You know, like that's kind of what it felt like. So I guess I just feel like if there was some sort of like program, or if there was like one specific counselor that was for transitioning athletes out of being an athlete, I think it would help so many people who go through an identity crisis, or, you know, unhealthy food relationships, unhealthy training relationships, like body issues, like, I don't know. I just feel like, I guess I want to say, like, I haven't been to college in a really long time, obviously. So, I mean, maybe there are programs like that implemented and I just don't know about it. I just know when I was there, I didn't hear of any such resource to help people transition out of being something that they've identified as. Okay, so to get back on track with things here, after graduating, I took like a few months off, I guess, to like reflect on my life and what I'm supposed to be doing. At that stage, I'm pretty sure I was going through like depression and identity crisis and just a lot of, you know, self-doubt on what the heck am I supposed to be doing right now. And I took shelter in the gym because when I did weightlifting sessions in college and in high school even, like I had a pretty natural understanding, or I guess easy understanding of lifting, and it all felt relatively easy for me. So I understood the basic movements of like squatting and deadlifts and like all these different things. And so I would just go to the gym and do what I learned in high school and in college. It wasn't until like a few weeks of doing that I started to realize like, oh, this could maybe be my new thing. Like this could be something that I'm good at. I can be strong. I can, you know, challenge myself similarly to how I did in soccer. Like this could be really good for me. And so I started getting into lifting, which really helped me not feel as lost as I did after graduating. But even then, I still felt like, you know, I'm not doing enough. Like I'm just wasting my time. I'm distracting myself from the inevitable fact that I don't know who I am without playing soccer. And I feel like that's kind of where I want to sort of sum up this video with a couple of encouraging things for you guys who have either gone through the similar experience that I have or are going to be going through it. If, let's say, your time of being an athlete or time of being whatever sport you've dedicated to is coming to an end. If you find yourself being so invested in a hobby, activity, sport, whatever, that you solely identify as that thing and you literally cannot, like if you have 5 facts to list about yourself and all you can say is, oh, I'm a soccer player, I'm a runner, I'm an athlete. Like if that's all you can say and you can't think of something else, you really need to start doing other things immediately. Do other things, find other hobbies, find other skills, gifts that you have, and lengthen that resume, because every person who has ever been dedicated to something for half their life, that doesn't mean that that's all you're going to be for the rest of your life. Like you're so much more than that. And I wish somebody would have like beaten that into me when I was getting out of soccer, because I feel like that would have been so helpful to just be told, like, you are so much more than what you've dedicated half your life to. Like, it's not the end of your story. It's not the end of, you know, your growth or anything like that. Like, you have so much more ahead of you. So biggest thing is, if you only identify as your hobby or sport, do other things to show that you are more than that. Second biggest tip would be to tell people that you are having a hard time and that you are struggling. With me, I was a very closed book when it came to me struggling with things. My parents watch my YouTube channel, and I can almost guarantee you they probably had no idea that I was freaking out after graduating college and I had no clue what I was doing. Like, they probably didn't really realize it, and that's no fault on them, and it's no fault on like my close friends at the time. Like, I don't like to tell people when I have a hard time or if I'm struggling with things. It's a crutch of mine and I'm not good at it. But if you are feeling like you don't know who you are and you're having an identity crisis and you're depressed and you're sad because a big part of your life is coming to an end and you're freaking out, talk to somebody. Because the more you isolate and get into your thoughts of like, oh my gosh, my life is ending, this is not okay, this is not cool, like, what am I gonna do? Like, you're just gonna spiral out of control, and it's just gonna make it worse. So definitely talk to somebody, whether it's another person going through it with you, like a teammate. If it's somebody who has gone through it before that you know, talk to them. Friends, family, like, just talk to somebody about it. Because I think, because it's already not talked about enough, like, it can be hard to think that anybody would understand, but I think anybody can relate to this kind of situation where a huge chapter of your life is coming to an end and you don't know what to expect to come next. And then I guess my third biggest tip would be, try to give yourself grace as you unlearn certain habits that you no longer need to carry with you into this new chapter. Whether that's with how you train, how you eat, how you recover, how you treat your body, how you treat your mind. Like, for me, I'm always a go, 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 structure all day, every day. You don't get tired. You don't need rest. Like, do anything you can to be the best. Like, that was my mentality when it came to soccer. And I never knew when to quit. I never knew when to take a break. I never knew when enough was enough. And it was really hard for me to transition into a normal life with that kind of mentality, because believe it or not, you are not built to be like that. You are not built to be go, 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 no rest, no break, no stop. Like, that's not what you're meant to be. You're meant to be an equally balanced person that gives it their best but knows when to rest too. So big third tip, unlearning old habits that you don't need to carry over into this new season of your life. It's huge, because you're no longer going to be that person. You're going to be somebody else, and that somebody else needs to have new habits and new guidelines to follow with their life, because they're two different people. And the fourth and final tip, I think, especially after the feedback I got on my Instagram when I brought this up, had a lot to do with relationships with food and your body. And being a health coach right now, with my online coaching, like, I still have clients who struggle with this balance of food, loving themselves, giving themselves what they need without punishing themselves because they don't look a certain way and things like that. And I think the best thing to do when you're coming out of an activity or sport or hobby where, like, you didn't have to think about those things is giving yourself the time to learn those things in a different light. So I mentioned how when I played soccer, like, I ate anything I wanted. I ate whatever I wanted, however much I wanted, didn't care, because I was like, I'm gonna run it off. It's whatever. I do that now. One, I don't run nearly as much anymore, so if I carried that over now, it would not be okay, and I would not be the same person that I was back then. You know, also, like, I'm not that 18, 19-year-old who has a metabolism that's super fast, who's sprinting around all day, every day. Like, I'm almost 30, I work at home, I sit a lot, I go to the gym when I can. Like, the lives are so different that for you to expect the same way of eating that you did back then with all of those factors to be the exact same now with all the factors being different, and you expect the same outcome, it's not gonna happen. I think giving yourself time to relearn the value of food and relearn the purpose behind moving your body and being active outside of being an athlete can make a difference. Like, you just need to move to be healthy. You don't need to move to be the fastest sprinter. You don't need to move to be on the starting lineup of anything. You don't need to eat well just so you can be in better shape than your teammates. Like, you're doing all of these things solely to be a healthy version of you, not to be a healthy version of you that's going to be on a team and be number one. Like, it's just about you and your life at this point. And I know a lot of these changes can be easier said than done, especially, again, like if you're about to be in this part of your life where, let's say, you're in the final season of your sport and you're kind of, in your head about things. Like, it can be really easy to hear this or have people tell you these things and you think like, there's no way I can do any of this, but you can. So I hope whoever comes across this video, if you know any people who have gone through this, forward it to them if you think it'll help them, or reach out to people who you know are about to go through a big transition in their life and they don't seem to know what they're gonna do or who they're gonna be. I know this is kind of like out of pattern with my other videos, but I've been wanting to talk about this for a really long time, and maybe one day I'll really talk about what I went through when I was in college and being a student athlete, because it was quite the 4 years of my life. It was pretty crazy, but I really hope this was just helpful for somebody. It was really cool to like actually talk out my feelings and my thoughts out here, so like I feel a little bit better about it. But it's definitely a bunch of things that I wish I knew becoming a student athlete and transitioning out of being an athlete. So yeah, hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys send it to your friends so they can maybe feel encouraged or, motivated from it. Comment down below if you gained anything from this, or if you were an ex-athlete yourself and what you played and what that experience was like. Like, I'd love to hear it. And make sure you subscribe, because we're going to Houston this weekend. It's gonna be so fun. I haven't been to Houston, it feels like forever, but I just went in December. But I'm excited to go back, and I'll bring you guys with me, so I'll vlog that for you guys. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next time.